Yo, what's good everyone? This is Ayo Boxing from Adiba, and we're here to talk about Tszyu fighting Keith Thurman. So last night, news broke that Tszyu will be fighting Keith Thurman in Las Vegas on March 30th, as the headline for PBC's first fight on Amazon Prime. It was also reported that this will be a pay-per-view. Rolly Romero vs. Isaac Cruz will be the co-main event, while Lara Landi and Sebastian Fedora will be on the undercard. And Julio Cesar Martinez is apparently fighting on the non-pay-per-view portion of the broadcast. Overall, this is a very confusing, weird, but interesting fight card. Confusing because no one expected Tszyu to fight Keith Thurman. Weird because this is a catchweight of 155 with no title on the line. And interesting because of the name and style matchup. No one could have predicted this to be PBC's first fight on Amazon Prime. I thought it was going to be Abdul Wahid, also known as Gervonta Tank Davis, headlining the first event when I saw the news, and I assumed that Tim and Thurman was on the undercard. So most people, including myself, are asking why? Why this fight? And the only conclusion I could come to is that PBC wants to make Tszyu a superstar in America. Let me explain. Tszyu is the son of a legend, Costa Tszyu. I didn't watch Costa because I was a kid when he was fighting, but Costa Tszyu was a big name, elite pound-for-pound boxer in his era. He's considered one of the best, if not the best Australian boxer. He's a Hall of Famer, a household name in Australia, popular among older, hardcore and casual fans in America due to his numerous fights in the US, particularly against Julio Cesar Chavez and Zab Judah, and Tszyu has benefited off of this legacy. A lot of the opportunities that Tim has received, particularly in the promotion he gets, is because of his dad. But as of last year, Tim has stepped out of his father's shadow and has been forging his own legacy, defeating Tony Harrison, Carlos Ocampo, and Brian Mendoza, and becoming a champion has elevated him, making him a legit force in boxing. He's the face of Australian boxing, making him a great asset to the PBC. However, Tim has yet to have a big fight in the US, nor have a big name on his resume. He's fought once in America against Terrell Goucher in 2022 in Minnesota, but that was not a big fight. Tim has always expressed interest in fighting in Vegas and was supposed to fight there against Jermell Charlo for Undisputed, but as we all know, that fight never happened. Tim would express interest in fighting Terrence Crawford in America, but also expressed interest in a Virgil Ortiz fight after his return earlier this month. It was then reported that Arison Lubin was Tim's next opponent, but for some reason that fight fell through, leaving Lubin confused, and to be honest, I would have loved that fight. But Tim responded saying, "Big fights only," and it looks like he got his wish with Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman was one of the biggest names on the PPC roster for a long time. He was exciting, knew how to talk and promote himself, which in turn led PBC to promote him heavily, having several big fights at welterweight, beating Sean Porter and Daniel Garcia and losing in a split decision to Manny Pacquiao. However, inactivity and injuries stopped Thurman from reaching his full potential. He took a 2-year layoff from 2017 to 2019, a 3-year layoff from 2019 to 2022, and it will be another 2-year layoff when he steps in the ring this March. Despite the layoffs, Thurman is an established and popular name in boxing. Even when gone, he was still considered in potential fight talks, especially when it came to Jaron Ennis, Stanley Jonas, Terrence Crawford, and Errol Spence. And if you remember, Thurman was allegedly going to fight Spence at 154 last year, but that never happened. Due to these reasons, this makes Thurman the perfect opponent for Tim. At the moment, no one at 154 has the name recognition of Keith Thurman. And with the resume and skills that Thurman has, this makes him a credible opponent in the eyes of many. Even with the inactivity, a lot of people are hype about Thurman's return to the ring. A win over Thurman could raise the stock of Tim to new heights, especially in America, which could then set up a bigger, more lucrative fight such as Crawford or a undisputed fight with Charlo. However, the pay-per-view can act as a barrier to entry for many people. Regardless, this would benefit the PPC. On paper, Tim should win this fight. 2023 has taught us that activity matters, and Tim has been super active, getting better with each fight. Thurman, on the other hand, has not been active. He had a lackluster performance against Mario Barrios, a fight that the old prime Thurman would have dominated. Thurman may get stopped by Tim, especially if Tim gets to his body. At least he will get a good payday going into retirement. However, I cannot count out Thurman fully. He's a skilled and crafty boxer. He has experience fighting the best and knows how to box and move, which could nullify the pressure style of Tim. If Thurman is able to turn back the clock and beat Tim, that would be insane, and it will put Thurman back into the spotlight, which is why I believe that the title should be on the line for this fight. But who knows, this is boxing, anything can happen. But thank you for tuning in with Ayo Boxing with Madiba. Hit like, subscribe, and more content coming your way.